Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is part 2 of what if Naruto was the elder brother of Sirzechs Gremory and was betrayed by him. Hope you enjoy, and if you do, make sure to like and subscribe for more.
He then ran towards class as he heard the bell ring. Fufu, does Rias have a thing for perverts? Said a voice. Rias turned to see her queen, Akeno Himejima. She wore the same uniform Rias did, but hers had the optional cape. Akeno had ebony-colored hair that went down to her legs tied with an orange ribbon. She also had sizable assets. Almost as big as Rias. Almost. Rias would never admit someone was larger than her. No, Akeno. He is the one with the sacred gear, remember? Rias said, slightly peeved. No need to get upset about it, Bucko. Akeno smirked. Unless you have a thing for perverts. Rias just huffed and went to her desk. I think the Fallen are making their move. Konako said she saw the one using the alias following him to school today. Rias said. Akeno went quiet and slightly clenched her hands. Rias adorned a sad expression at her friend's turmoil. The Fallen was always a touchy subject with her. What will you do? Akeno asked, finally getting over her grief. Nothing. When they kill him, he will more than likely be willing to join to save his life. I will have my familiar give him a summoning flyer. Rias answered. Fufu, aren't we a little confident? Do you really think that his last thoughts would be of you? Akeno chuckled. Of course. Rias flipped her hair. Why wouldn't he? I am the great Oni-sama after all. She said, puffing out her chest. Silence. Then burst into laughter, enjoying this moment while it lasted. Little did Rias know that her actions would change things on a universal scale. He couldn't freaking believe it. He of all people got a girlfriend. And he wasn't the one to ask. Yuma Amano. That was the girl who asked him out once school ended and he was heading home. She was so cute when she stuttered. And those breasts. If he was lucky, he would be able to touch them after their date this Sunday. Wait. Sunday? Today was Friday. That meant he had to wait a whole day till he had a chance to touch those lovely breasts. Issei slumped his shoulders and walked home upset. Never noticing golden eyes looking at him retreating home. Naruto would love to hear that perverted fallen angel finally decided to deal with this sorry excuse of a sacred gear wielder. With that, she summoned a teleportation circle as night fell over the city of Kyoto. Naruto was currently lounging on his sofa in the living room watching TV. Yasaka was on his right, snuggling into him as Akasha was on his left doing the same. Both his daughters on his lap as they were entranced with the TV show. Mocha with a bit of a blush. Naruto smiled as he saw this. He loved when he could embarrass Mocha. She tried so hard to be mature and proper that it made Naruto want to mess with her more. When he could get her flustered, he couldn't help but love her unconditionally. Kunu was his other pride and joy. She was older than Mocha by a month. Though she never acted like it. Which was fine by Naruto as they were still kids. He loved seeing her act her age. Though she did get out of hand with pranking when a whisked woman was near. He really loved both his daughters. He took satisfaction in knowing that he made them. Of course not without the help of the women currently snuggling with him. He then turned around when he felt a teleportation circle appear behind him. In a brief flash, the woman with golden eyes stepped out. She, like most of his peerage, had blonde hair. She had a white scarf around her neck and black top that covered her breasts, exposing the top of her breasts and shoulders along with her toned stomach. On each arm she had a gold bracelet around her biceps with a white sleeve going down to her wrists. She had a bronze belt with a silver circle buckle on top of black underwear. Naruto wasn't sure what they were till this day. She had white puffy pants attached to the belt, with the thigh parts missing, tucked into her knee-high boots. This was Leon. One of Naruto's pawn. Naruto looked at her and she nodded, signaling she had finished her mission. Naruto nodded in understanding before turning to the girls in his lap. Kunu-chan, Mocha-chan, time to go to bed. Both girls moaned. But Daddy Kunu said in a cute whine. It's not even late yet. Mocha nodded in agreement. Both their mothers smiled at the interaction Naruto was having with their children. If you don't go to bed, I won't tuck you guys in and you can forget about my good night kisses. Naruto warned. Both girls gasped as Akasha smirked. Naruto was the only one to get Mocha to drop her mature act and be a kid. Both girls jumped off his lap and scrambled over each other, going to their shared room. You spoil them too much, Naruto-kun. Yasaka said standing up from the couch. Akasha nodded her head following Yasaka. Well, they are my daughters. It is my right to spoil them. After all, they are just like you. They both mock-pouted before he kissed them both on the lips, going to the dining room, them following, where Leon went. Sitting at his table were the rest of his peerage from this morning. With Yang, Leon, and Issei on one side and Kurika, and Elizabeth on the other side. Naruto took his seat at the end of the table with Akasha and Yasaka taking seats on either side of him. What's your report, Leon? Well, it seems that the Fallen are going through with killing the pervert. Leon started. The fallen angel Rainare is using the alias Suuma Amano to trick the boy into thinking she likes him. She confessed she had feelings for him and got him to agree to go on a date with him. She finished. Naruto just face-palmed. I can't believe how desperate the kid is. He has never met this Suuma and didn't even think twice about anything being suspicious. Naruto couldn't comprehend the idiocy of perverts. He also couldn't believe that some of the most powerful beings were perverts. Azazel being an open one while the others being closet perverts. The original 4 Satans, from what he remembered, were closet pervs. Do you think we should watch the date Sunday? Naya Kurika asked. Naruto thought about it for a second before shaking his head. Azazel said that the fallen he had here were very capable besides only having 1 pair of wings each. We'll trust his judgment. Naruto answered. I don't really care as long as I don't have to watch the pervert anymore. Leon said, stretching in her chair. There's only one man that I wouldn't mind being a pervert, she said, looking at Naruto. He groaned as his peerage laughed or giggled at his misfortune. What about your little sister? Elizabeth asked. Her and the Satriere have no doubt sensed the boy has a sacred gear. If it wasn't for it being a long Inus, you wouldn't be able to sense anything coming from the kid, considering he has absolutely no aptitude in magic. He would make a very disappointing devil. Yang mused. Yes, he is very weak. Issei agreed. Naruto couldn't help but let a small smile come to his face as he watched his family interacting with each other. Well, Azazel said that he was going to have Rainare bring the boy to his base to study his boosted gear. Naruto said. It will also keep that brat Vala from going battle crazy with his true rival. That boy is worse than your pawn when she gets heated in the middle of a battle. Yasaka chimed in. I agree. I think he may be exactly like his grandfather in his battle craziness. Akasha added. Naruto just nodded in agreement. Seemed that there were a lot of battle-hungry bastards in the world. Naruto was shook out of his thoughts when a yellow toad jumped on his table. Naruto looked at it for a few seconds along with everyone else. The yellow toad just looked Naruto in the eyes before giving a peace sign. In seconds the toad was replaced in smoke that covered up the group at the table. They coughed while waving a hand in the air to get rid of the smoke. Once it cleared, they saw a young woman standing on the table. She had long silky red hair. A shade or two lighter than Naruto's. She had it tied in twin pigtails. She had cerulean blue eyes that were similar to Naruto's. On each cheek she had 3 whisker-like marks that made her look like a fox. She wore a black and orange jacket that went to her thighs. The top zipped down just enough to reveal the top of her large C-low D-cup breasts. Under her jacket she wore black short shorts similar to Yang's. She wore black ninja-style sandals. This girl was Narumi Uzumaki. Naruto's pawn. ×3 to be exact. Narumi looked around, standing on the table, and saw some of her fellow peerage members were coughing from her summoning smoke. She scratched the back of her head and smiled sheepishly. Sorry about that. My summons like to play pranks time to time. She spoke. That's fine, Narumi-chan. Naruto said after getting over the smoke. His was Kyoto? Hopefully your partner has been doing a good job in keeping the place standing, he asked. It was a great stay. Yasaka-chan, you have a lovely homeland there. It was so beautiful and the nature energy coming from there was so serene. Narumi said warmly. Also, Kurama has been doing a good job. He's just being a big pervert. While I was there all I could hear was him and Nibby going at it while I tried to sleep. Naruto just sighed as that just proved that most powerful beings were pervs. So, did I miss anything while I was gone? Narumi asked. Not much. Leon, fill her in will ya? When he received a nod, he got up and went to his daughter's room with their mothers attached to his arms. Upon entering their room he saw they were in Kunu's bed looking at photo album of Naruto and their mothers. Ahem. Naruto cleared his throat. They both looked up and saw their parents. What do you have there, Musume? Yasaka asked. We were looking at the pictures of you guys and daddy. Kunu said. Can you tell us how you all met? Kunu said with sparkling, pleading eyes. Naruto just chuckled at her expression. Some other time, Kunu-chan. It's time for bed. Mocha got up and went to her bed across from Kunu's. Akasha followed her while Naruto and Yasaka went to Kunu's. Yasaka tucked her in as Naruto gave her a kiss on her forehead. Night, Kunu-chan / Musume. Both parents said. Kunu smiled and closes her eyes. Naruto then went to Mocha's bed as Yasaka went to stand by the door. Akasha smiled as Naruto got to Mocha's bed and tucked her in. He planted a kiss on her forehead. Good night, Mocha-chan. Naruto whispered to her. She closed her eyes and smiled. Good night, Otasama, Okasama. With that she drifted off into the land of dreams. As Naruto and Akasha left the room, Yasaka was standing in the hallway waiting for them. So I guess it's time for us to hit the hay. Naruto said. Akasha just smirked. That's sweet, Naruto-kun, she said sweetly. To have your way with Yasa-chan last night and not even coming to get was very rude of you. Naruto gulped. His lovers had a sort of rivalry where they didn't want him doing something without the other there. Now, she said as she breathed on his ear. Let's go to bed, but first. Akasha lowered her mouth to his neck. I quick drink. Chew, she sank her fangs into his neck and moaned as he sighed and picked her up, carrying her to their room while smacking Yasaka's rear end as he passed her. Yasaka just smiled seductively and followed him. They wouldn't get much sleep tonight. He didn't know what he did to bring this upon himself. Things were going great up until a few seconds ago. He had finally got a date after taking many beatings from Peeping. She was a total 10 in the breast department in Issei's book, but anything bigger than AC was a 10 to him. The date went well. They had lunch, went to an arcade, and he even got her a scrunchie. Then she had asked that question. Could you repeat that? Issei asked. Yuuma's smile turned from a happy one to a sinister one. Could you die for me? She stepped back towards the fountain and a bright light enveloped her. Her clothes disappearing, giving Issei a full look at her appearance. Gone was her frilly dress and now replaced with a SM-style leather piece that just covered her nipples and genital regions that was connected together. Black, feathered wings protruded out of her back. I'm really sorry that I have to kill a pathetic human like you, but you are too dangerous for your own good. Yuuma said with her sweet voice now gone, replaced by one of a full-grown woman. If you want to blame someone, blame God for putting that thing inside of you. She said as she formed a light spear and threw it at Issei. Before you die, it wouldn't be right if you didn't know the name of your killer. My name is Rainare. Not Yuuma. The now named Rainare said. Issei was frozen solid. He couldn't move for the life of him. Gone was his adorable girlfriend. Now was a sexy woman that totally put Yuuma to shame. Issei couldn't shout in pain as the light spear pierced his stomach. He fell on his back as blood pooled around him. I'm really glad Zeke told me that Cockabile said his sacred gear wasn't need. I would have hated to touch this pervert. Rainare said as she flew away. Damn. Issei thought as he choked on blood. I never even got the chance to touch her breasts. They were almost as Rias' breasts. The perv thought. What I wouldn't give to touch her breast was the last thought Issei had before his pocket glowed and a red circle appeared next to him as he lost consciousness. What? Yelled a furious Naruto if his scowling face was any indication. He's still alive. Yes. Apparently the fallen didn't take him and your sister revived him after she killed him. Spoke a soft voice. Her voice was soft but showed no fear when Naruto yelled. Mostly because he wasn't upset with her, just at the situation. She was a girl who looked to be around the age of the rest of her peerage members. She had black hair that looked like it could be a very dark purple. She had big hazel-colored eyes. She wore a black hairband with 2 strands of hair sticking out the top looking like a pair of antennae. She wore a black vest-like top that left the sides and middle of her breasts exposed. The sleeves connected to it from below her shoulders covering her down to her hands. Her dress was connected to her top, with purple lining on the bottom. She had a petite build. Something no one else in the house had. But her most noticeable feature was the massive black and pink fairy/butterfly-like wings coming out of her back. This was Kuroyuki him. Or Kuroyuki for short. She was the other bishop in Naruto's peerage. Damn it! Naruto cursed. It had been 2 days since Issei's date and supposed death. The reason he found out was because he felt another supernatural entity in the area yesterday and had Kuroyuki find out who it was. Kuroyuki had returned on the night of Issei's date. She was in the underworld with another one of his pawns doing reconnaissance on the remaining pillars and Miss. Damn Azazel! What was he thinking? He said he had a long Inus. Naruto took a deep breath and calmed down. Is what you said true? Naruto asked in his normal even tone. She nodded. He has gotten impatient and plans to come to the human world to force Rias into marriage. Kuroyuki responded. So Riser is sick of waiting for the marriage to happen then. Naruto ran a hand through his crimson locks. I guess I have to make my return sooner than expected. He looked at Kuroyuki. You can go rest up. You did a good job. You earned it. She smiled with pink dusting her cheeks at the sincere praise. She nodded and left her room. Thank you. She said before she left. You can come out now, Blake. Naruto said. Said girl tripped from around the corner where she was waiting for his conversation to end. Blake was a stunning beauty. Her ebony-colored hair. She had yellow eyes similar to Kurika's. She wore a white blouse with a black vest over it. She had black/purple thigh highs. She wore black combat boots with heels on them. She also had a black bow on her head. Blake. Naruto said. Blake stopped and flinched. Take it off. You know I don't like when you hide them and I know you wish you could show them all the time. Blake didn't move for a few seconds. She finally reached up and undid the ribbon on her head revealing 2 black cat ears. See, isn't that better? Blake nodded slightly and calmed down. So, what did you need to talk about? I wanted to know if there was any more missions you needed done. Well, I have a few but most of them I need to do personally. Naruto stated. Check back with me in a day or 2. I'm pretty sure something will come up with the way everything has gone to shit. She nodded. Now take a break. I know that you worked hard with Kuroyuki-chan. Relax and take it easy. Something tells me we are going to be ready for something. Blake bowed and disappeared. Naruto was going to head to his room before he heard a knock. Ugh! What is it now? He groaned. Naruto approached the door and as he grabbed the doorknob did realize who it was. He opened it. Yo! What's up Naruto? He never finished as Naruto punched him in the nose. Breaking it if the crunch was any indication. Ow! What the fuck? Screamed the man. He was holding his bleeding nose. That's for telling Rainare not to bring in Issei's dead body. My little sister revived him, Azazel. Naruto yelled. The now known Azazel just let go of his nose showing that it was healed. Perverts were resilient. That wasn't me. He claimed. It was. He started but went quiet at the end. What was that? Speak up ya perverted old fool. I said Zeke told her not to bring him in. He said the sacred gear was a useless one. Naruto looked furious. Useless? What idiot would believe that? The gears are from God himself. None are useless. He told him. What possessed him to say that? Azazel just took a deep sigh and started channeling magic to his body. He didn't want to be a pile of mush when he tells Naruto what he was keeping secret. It was cockabile. He went rogue a week ago. He took some of the other fallen with him that didn't like the way things were going. Zeke was one of them. though I only found this out when Middle briefed me on the incident. Azazel didn't continue as steam was coming off the top of Naruto's head. You mean to tell me, he said through clenched teeth, that Crocodile went rogue and you kept this a secret from me and the other factions? Azazel just nodded slowly. What next? He's working with rogue church members. Azazel. Why yes. He's working with rogue church members, isn't he? Azazel gulped. Why yes. You're dead. The next half hour, all you could hear throughout the house was a perverted fallen angel's screams. Now, Naruto said after beating Azazel. His peerage members around him after hearing all the commotion. Anything else you want to tell me, Azazel? Azazel picked himself up off the floor and dusted his clothes off. The only indication of him being hit was a bump on his head. Well, Crocodile had it fixed so a girl by the name of Asia Argento would be sent here. She was a nun that got excommunicated for healing a devil. That made everyone's blood boil. Why would she get kicked out if she was kind enough to heal a devil? Donazik plans to rip out her sacred gear. Naruto gave him a questioning look. She has twilight healing. Able to heal anyone no matter what race they are. What does this have to do with me then? Naruto asked. Well, apparently your sister's new recruit has developed a personal bond with this girl. Donazik ended up taking her away while they were hanging out together today. Naruto clenched his fists. He knew what was coming. He has went to go and save her. Your dear little sister played him and said he couldn't go save her knowing her would disobey her. Azazel said. She let her knight and rook go with him while she and her queen provide backup and deal with my kin that are to keep watch during the ceremony. Naruto just groaned. Everything just got worse. All right. Naruto said sighing. I get it. You want me to deal with my sister, right? Azazel nodded. Fine, but you owe me for this. Also, we get to end Donazik if he resists capture. Fine with me. Just let the innocent ones go. As for the exorcists, I'm all for women but I'm not a fan of rape. They can die for all I care. Azazel stated. I'll be off then. As he got to the door, he stopped. By the way, you might want to make haste, Issei left a few minutes ago. Azazel then spread his wings and flew away. Damn! Naruto curse. Leon, Narumi, go take care of the church. They nodded and disappeared. Kuroyuki, Blake, I need you to find out exactly when Riser will be here. Hi. They said before they disappeared. He then started walking towards his room. Where are you going? Yasaka said. I need to get ready. I plan to meet some people about this marriage contract. He said as he ascended up the stairs. Issei was dumbfounded. He had made his way to the church with Konako and Kiba. That crazy exorcist Fried was waiting for them and Kiba stayed behind to fight him. Konako and Issei made it to the basement where there were dozens of exorcists and Donazik stood on and with Asia tied to it. Donazik then removed her sacred gear, killing her in the process. In a fit of rage, Issei attacked Donazik but the experience barrier was clearly visible by miles. They ended up in the main hall with Issei bleeding from every limb. Just as a light spear was about to hit him, a wall of sand appeared in front of him. Who dares interfere with me? Yelled Donazik. That would be us. Donazik looked behind him and saw a blonde with lion-like ears, tail, and yellow fur-covered fists. Next to her was a girl with red hair and an orange pigmentation around her eyes. Who are you? He yelled. None of your business. Just some people Azazel sent to take care of you. Narumi said. Donazik just chuckled. That old fool. He believes peace is achievable. It never will be. That is why I joined Crocodile. To fight worthy opponents. Leon just smirked. And how are you going to do that? You only have one set of wings. What if you run into a Mu? He snarled. With this sacred gear in my possession, I can overcome the Miss and God himself. He proclaimed. Oh really? Narumi said. She then stuck her hand out and formed a blue sphere. She then went faster than anyone could see besides Leon. Raise Nan! Narumi yelled as she slammed the ball in his chest. That was the scene that Rias and Akeno walked in on. Konako and Kiba doing the same but from the basement. Aig! Donazek screamed as he coughed up blood when he made an indent in the wall. You bitch! Cough, I'll kill you for that! He said. He then tried to heal the bleeding hole in his chest but saw it was barely faster than his natural healing. What? Why isn't it healing? That would be the power of Senjutsu. Narumi said and Konako froze. That attack was powered with nature chakra. Something you can't use or comprehend. Donazek went to say something before Narumi appeared in front of him. Now, may you rest in peace, or pieces. She slammed a raise nan against his head, forcing it to explode all over the wall. I'll take those. Narumi then grabbed the sacred gear from his fingers and put them in her pouch. Who are you and what are you doing on Gremory territory? Rias said stepping up. Listen princess, Leon started, we were sent here to deal with the fallen traitor over there and now that we're done, we will be on our way. What are you? Rias asked. The same thing as you. Who is your king? She demanded more than asked. We can't tell you that, Aji-sama. Leon shot back. So you're strays. Leon and Narumi just smiled not answering. Kiba, Konako, deal with them. They nodded and went to attack Naruto's peerage members. You sure it's wise to attack us after the beating you took from some weak exorcists? They didn't stop. I warned you. As Kiba drew his sword and swung it, everyone froze. Leon stuck out her hand and grabbed it. Sword birth. She said. Neat. She clenched her hand shattering the sword. She then punched Kiba in the jaw, breaking it and sending him into the wall. He went unconscious from the punch. She ducked to avoid a leg kick from Konako. Leon put her palms on the ground and pushed herself off the ground, kicking Konako with both feet hitting her chest. She went flying before stopping a few feet from Rias. Rias was about to join before Narumi spoke. Don't you have a girl to revive? Rias stopped and looked at her. I would, but you still have her sacred gear. I need it. Narumi just laughed. You can revive her without it. Unless you are just greedy and the whole reason behind this attack on the church was to get the twilight healing. Rias froze as Narumi stated the entire reason she let Issei come. Bucko. She turned and saw Issei weeping over a dead Asia. She's lying, right? You're still going to revive her without the sacred gear still, right? This wasn't just to get her power, right? Rias cursed the redhead in front of her. She couldn't just go reviving everyone. Issei already took all her pawns. But maybe she would still be a good healer after having a sacred gear that healed people anyways. I will, Issei. Rias said as she went over to him and placed a bishop on her chest. She turned to look at the two devils but they were gone. She sighed. Issei just seemed to attract unseated attention. Man, it's been over a century since I've been here. Naruto said staring at gates with a bird that looked to be on fire on them. Well, better get going. He made a teleportation circle to go into the house. He stepped out of the circle and saw the two people he needed to see. Yo! He said before a voice behind him called his name. Naruto. He turned. Shit. When he turned, he saw someone who was the last person that he wanted to see. For it had been over a century since he seen her and over that time, with the help of Yasaka, learned that the person he was looking at had strong feelings for him. He gulped. Hey, how have yo dash he never finished as they tackled him to the ground. Their face in his chest as tears streamed down their face. Is that really you, Naruto-kun? Are you really here? Naruto just wrapped his arms around them. Yes, Sira-chan. It's me. He said with a small smile. The now revealed Sira-fall just hugged him tighter, fearing he would disappear. It's been a while, Naru-chan. Naruto looked up and saw the people that he came to see. Yes, it has Phoenix-sama. All he received was a glare that caused him to sweat. I mean Layla-chan. The glare instantly disappeared and was replaced with a warm smile. Naruto, my boy, where have you been? Naruto looked next to Layla to see her husband and leader of the Phoenix clan, Reiji Phoenix. A little here and there. Mostly gathering my peerage. Naruto said as he stood up with Sira-fall still clinging to his chest. Sira-chan, you can let go now. She shook her head. I won't. I'm afraid this is a dream, and if I let go, you will disappear and I won't be able to see you again. His heart clenched. He hated to cause the people he cared about pain. It's okay, I'm not going to leave again. He grabbed her chin to make her look at him. I promise. She just stared in his eccentric blue eyes and found no traces of lies or deceit, but still didn't let go. Naruto sighed and sat down on one of the couches with Sirzechs sitting next to him, almost on his lap, still clinging to him. So, Reiji started, what brings you here, Naruto? Naruto adopted a serious expression. I'm here to talk to you guys about the marriage contract. The Phoenixes just gained saddened expressions. I'm sorry, but there is nothing we can do about it. Layla said. We didn't want to do it, but we needed to repopulate the Devil Clan, and we would be looked down on by the elders if we refused from such a prestigious family such as the Gremorys. Yes, I know all too well how the elders favor the Gremorys, considering they are mostly Bales now. Naruto said with venom. Reiji spoke up. But even you can't break the contract. It was made non-breakable by the elders and us at the time. Reiji then smiled sadly. Plus, Riser would not like that we wanted to end the agreement. I don't know where he got his perversions from or arrogance, but I guess his name and powers got to his head. Naruto hummed in thought. That's right, you had 2 more children after I left. Riser was your 3rd child, and the 4th one is the one listening into this conversation. Eeb. A squeak was heard from the hallway connected to the room they were in. Layla just smiled. You got careless, daughter. Come on in since you have been here the whole time now. The door opened and in stepped a beautiful blonde, slightly younger looking version of Layla. She had blonde hair with drill-like curls on each side of her head. She had dark blue eyes. Her initial outfit consisted of a light purple dress with dark purple accents and a blue bow at the front. At the back, 3 feather-like extensions mimicking a bird's tail protrude from the dress, which, when combined with her wings of fire, give her a bird-like appearance. Honey, please introduce yourself to our guest here. Layla smiled. Ravel looked at Naruto with Sirzechs still clinging to him. The tears seemed to calm down some. She bowed. Hello Naruto-sama. My name is Ravel Phoenix, 16 years old, 4th child of the Phoenix family and my brother's bishop. Naruto frowned. Please, never call me Sama, I am not one to care for such titles. They mean nothing at all and is just a piece added to one's name. Ravel was dumbfounded. A devil not wanting to be shown respect. What kind of guy was he? People would jump for joy if someone called them that. Her father noticed the confusion on her face and explained. You see Ravel, Naruto doesn't like titles as they tend to go to people's head. He saw what it did to his brother and didn't want the same to happen to him. Since he was just a child, he never used such titles for anyone, including the old Satans, and they got a kick out of it. Ravel's jaw hit the ground. He only used the proper titles when we were at war, when we had peaceful talks with other factions. If you don't mind, who is your brother? Ravel asked. Before Naruto answered, Layla spoke. I think Naruto wants to keep his name secret for now, otherwise he would have made a flashy entrance. Naruto just smiled sheepishly. You know me so well, Kaa-chan. Naruto then relaxed a bit. But it is fine, since she might be involved after I take a look at the marriage contract. Are you sure? Sirzechs finally said. Things will become hectic when people find out you're alive and back in the underworld. I plan on making an entrance in a few weeks anyways, considering Riser is planning to push this marriage sooner. The Phoenix family just frowned at their irrational son/brother. To answer your question, Ravel, my brother is Sirzechs Lucifer, formerly Gremory. Ravel gasped. You're related to Lucifer-sama. But I only thought that Rias-sama was his only sibling. Ravel shouted. He chuckled. Yes, that would be what the younger generation believes. You see, I am his older twin. Again Ravel was dumbfounded. You have never heard of me because he made the older devils swear secrecy of my existence from the devils that didn't know who I was. You may know most of my story. I am the character in the history books as the Crimson Flash. Naruto said as Ravel almost fainted. The Crimson Flash. The devil who was able to teleport hundreds of devils in seconds during the Great War. The same one who killed 2 Satan's children during the Civil War. The fastest devil to ever live? Ravel asked flabbergasted. Naruto nodded. The same one. He said as Sirafal hugged him harder as she saw the question that Ravel was about to ask. Why did you leave? Layla spoke. Ravel. I don't think you should. Naruto cut her off. It's fine, Kaa-chan. She is family after all. Naruto smiled sadly. Ravel, what do you know of Sirzechs and Graphia's relationship? Well, during the Civil War, Graphia-sama was fight for the old faction and Lucifer-sama was able to get her to join our side. Then after the Crimson Flash, or you, left did Sirzechs made her his queen and later married. The Romeo and Juliet story. True love at first sight. Ravel said. Well, you see, only parts of that story is true. They also missed very important details. Naruto sighed and ran his hand through his hair. I was the one who got Graphia to join our side. We then began our relationship that almost all devils at the time knew of. Then, on my way home from getting an engagement ring that your mother helped me pick out, I found her and Sirzechs going sleeping together in my own home. Naruto finished as he clenched his fists. He didn't care for either of them or his parents that just went along with what happened. But talking about it always made him angry over their betrayal. He calmed down when he felt Sirafal rubbing his back. Ravel, meanwhile, was very depressed. She had always thought that she would find someone the way they did. Have a knight come save her and fall in love. Now she knew it was a lie. True love at first sight was just a lie. That was the day I left the underworld. Without even saying goodbye to anyone as I just wanted to get out of hell. Oh, the irony. I didn't even say bye to your parents or even my best friend, your older brother, Rival. You know Unii-sama. He nodded. He was like my other brother. Now my only brother. Ravel just gaped. Now, to get back to why I came here, the contract. Reiji nodded before leaving and returning with the marriage contract in his hands. The next hour or two was left discussing the plans for annulling or changing the contract. It wasn't until Naruto read a specific part that his parents wrote. That would be their biggest mistake. Once they were done, Naruto stood up with Sirafal holding onto his arm after finally getting her to let go of his chest. Before anything else could happen, a teleportation circle appeared on the ground. The moment Naruto saw it, he paled and started to hide behind Sirafal the best he could. Out stepped 2 people. The first was a man who stood just under 6 feet with crimson locks and eyes that matched Naruto's. The other was a woman who also had crimson locks but blue-green eyes. These people were Michael and Liliana Gremory. Naruto's grandparents. Where is he? Liliana yelled. Nobody wasted any time and instantly threw Naruto under the bus, pointing where he was hiding behind Sirafal. She marched over to them and for the first time since Naruto got there, Sirafal let him go and moved as far away as she could. Liliana grabbed Naruto by his ear and pulled him up to where he stood almost a foot taller than her. You are in so much trouble, Naruto Gremory. Naruto, the man who faced danger multiple times, fought against the Archangel Michael and Gabriel when he was only 20, beat Azazel less than a week ago, and killed 2 miss, just gulped and prayed for his life. The pain from a devil praying was much more welcoming than his grandmother's wrath. I missed you so much. Liliana pulled him into a bone-crushing hug, letting tears fall, as Michael finally went near Naruto after staying clear of his wife's wrath. Naruto returned the hug and smiled. They were the only family members that actually cared for him that was blood-related when he was younger. It's been a while, Naruto-kun. His grandfather spoke. Yes, it has, Aji-san. Naruto said. Oba-chan, stop crying please. Tears don't fit you. Baka. She yelled, letting go of him. She bonked him on the head. It's your fault I'm crying. You left without even saying anything. Naruto flinched. I'm sorry. I was hurting and had to get out of this place. I couldn't deal with the betrayal. Naruto replied. I understand, Michael said, but a visit or 2 would have been nice. Or you could have stayed. Liliana voiced. If you did, I could have had great-grandbabies by now. She said with a smile. Who knows, maybe you and Sira-chan would make great parents together and give me my great-grandbabies. Both Naruto and Sira flushed, though Sira had a dreamy look on her face. Ha, if only you knew I already had children, Oba-chan. Naruto mumbled. He didn't expect her to hear that but knew he messed up when her aura went dark. You already had a child. Liliana screamed. The others were shocked while Sira felt her heart clench. He already had a child. Actually Oba-chan, I have two. He never got to speak more as Liliana slugged him into the wall. Sira felt as if her heart was going to break. Liliana went to Naruto and grabbed him by his collar and started to shake him. You had two babies and didn't have the decency to come tell me about it. As she kept shaking him, Naruto looked like a rag doll. Michael felt sorry for his grandson as he was a recipient of that treatment from his wife. Sira was going to leave until Liliana spoke. How could you have kids with someone else when Sira has had feelings for you since you were kids? Are you really that dense? Sira almost broke down in tears. Liliana-sama, please, it's fine. It was too good to be true. She started before she was cut off. I'm sorry, Sira-chan. Naruto said. I really was that dense. I didn't realize your feelings until Yasaka helped me understand your feelings. Everyone froze at that name, but Naruto continued. I can't say I love you as a lover, but I do like you more than a friend. I am willing to be in a relationship with you. But you have to be okay with sharing, as I have other women in my life as I love equally. If we do try for a relationship, I will love you the same. Sira couldn't hold it in anymore. She let her tears fall once more. She ran to him and Liliana moved out the way for her. She wrapped her arms around his neck and cried into his neck, muttering yes. Naruto wrapped his hand around her waist and held her close and smiled. Naruto, Liliana said in a sickly sweet tone. Did you say Yasaka? He gulped again. Why yes. Michael then asked what his wife wanted to know. How do you know the leader of Kyoto and Yukai? He chuckled nervously. Well, you see, she is the mother of my oldest daughter. Everyone in the room was floored besides Sira as she wasn't paying attention to anything else but staying in Naruto's arms. She is the mother of you, child. Yelled the Layla and Liliana. Liliana continued. How did you get with the leader of all the Yukai? She was one of the first people I met after I left. He explained. Then it dawned on her, Liliana. Wait. You said the mother of your first child. Does that mean your second child is from someone else? She asked. Why yes. Her name is Akasha. She is the mother of my second child. Liliana adorned a terrifying smile. Is there anything else that you would like to tell me? Naruto was sweating bullets. Why didn't they just use his grandmother in the Great War? Her smile would have made Azazel wet himself. Me, Yasaka-chan, and Akasha-chan are all married. Liliana's smile just got even more strained. Naruto, he nodded, take me to my grandbabies. She looked at him. That would make the dead roll in their graves. Now. Naruto didn't hesitate and brought them and Sira to his home. The Phoenix family staying, saying they wanted to make sure the plan for the wedding went smoothly. Yasaka, Akasha, Kunu, and Mocha were all sitting at the dining table eating lunch as the rest of the peerage was training outside or lounging in their rooms. They were having a nice conversation before a teleportation signaled someone coming. When they saw Naruto, they smiled and then noticed the women on his arm and two others stand next to him. Mocha and Kunu ran up to him. Daddy/Otasama. They yelled as Sira let go of his arm so he could catch the girls jumping at him. Hello Kunu-chan, Mocha-chan. He kissed their foreheads. You guys haven't gotten into trouble while I was gone, right? Naruto asked with a smile. They nodded their heads. Ahem. Naruto turned to his grandmother and paled at her look. Kunu-chan, Mocha-chan, you see those people over there? They looked where he pointed and nodded. Those are my grandparents and your Aji-san and Oba-chan. He put them down so they could go meet them. Kunu and Mocha stood in front of Michael and Liliana. Hello. They both said. Michael smiled and Liliana got on one knee to look at them closer. Kunu looked at her. You are really pretty, Oba-chan. Naruto took pity as he knew what was next. Liliana grabbed Kunu and started to squeeze the life out of her. "Oh, thank you very much, Kunu-chan. You and your sister are very beautiful yourselves." Mocha had a faint blush while Kunu's face turned red from the lack of air. "Dear, perhaps you should put Kunu-chan down before you kill her." Liliana nodded and put her down. Kunu's eyes had swirls in them as she swayed back and forth. "Oba-chan is really strong," Kunu said as she struggled to find her balance. Yasaka and Akasha made their way over to their daughters in front of Liliana and Michael. "Hello Liliana-sama and Michael-sama." They both greeted. "So you two are the mothers of these adorable little children?" Liliana said. "Yes, Liliana-sama." Liliana frowned. "Please, enough with the sama stuff. It makes me feel my age." Yasaka and Akasha giggled as she reminded them of Naruto. "Please call me Oba-chan. After all, you are married to my baka of a grandson." Kunu and surprisingly Mocha giggled as Naruto yelled "Hey!" "Of course, Oba-chan," they said smiling as Liliana accepted them to the family. Naruto then stepped forward. "Kunu-chan, Mocha-chan. Why don't you go and show Aji-san and Oba-chan your room?" They looked at him, excited. "Can we show them the pictures too?" Kunu asked and Mocha nodded agreeing with her. Naruto chuckled. "Yes. You can show them the photo album." Kunu squealed and grabbed her grandparents' hands and dragged them to her and Mocha's room. Mocha followed behind them. Yasaka and Akasha turned to Naruto and Sirafal who grabbed his arm again. "So, you are the Sirafal that Naruto has told us about?" Yasaka said. "I must say, you are just as beautiful as Naruto described." Akasha followed. Sirafal blushed at the thought of Naruto calling her beautiful. "Stop teasing her Yasaka-chan, Akasha-chan," Naruto said. "We have things to talk about first. You can have girl talk later." He finished as he flared his power a bit to notify his peerage that he needed to talk to them. A second later, the room was filled with his peerage plus his final two pieces that were out on a mission. The first was a young woman in her late teens. She has long blonde hair that runs all the way down to her back with several bangs hanging over her forehead, and sports medium blue eyes. She also wears a blue headband over her hair to keep it in place. She wears a pair of black, semi-rimmed glasses with the rims sitting below the lenses. This is Satellizer Bridget, Naruto's pawn that took two pieces. The other was a girl that has long, straight, and shiny purple hair along with a triangular fringe at the front that barely touches the ridge of her nose, and she is also shown to have blue eyes and sizable breasts. She had shiny pink lips that stood out among the other girls in the room. She wears female battle boots with heels, long lace purple stockings, purple gloves, her school uniform top, a skirt that shows the string of her thong and her entire right thigh, and a purple lace bra. This is Psycho Busujima, Naruto's final pawn. They were currently out on missions. Satellizer was dealing with stray exorcists and devils in the town. Psycho was tasked with following up on a lead of the missing Excalibur fragments. "Sei-chan, Issei-chan, how did everything go?" Satellizer spoke first. "I dealt with most strays in the area. There is one that I could not find. He goes by the name of Freed." Naruto nodded and looked at Psycho. "I followed the lead you had but didn't find anything besides Valper being involved." Naruto nodded again. He had an idea after Azazel came and told him Cockabile went rogue. "Good job to the both of you. Once we are done here you guys can rest." They nodded and took their seats with the rest of the peerage. "Now, apparently things are going to be getting a lot more hectic around here." He started. "Riser has become impatient and will be coming to the human world to advance the marriage with Rias. Now Sirafal is here to help us. She says that Sirzechs plans to send her to monitor the meeting and hopefully get them to agree to a rating game." Sirafal noticed the hateful and disgusted looks his peerage had at the mention of Sirzechs and Grafia. "Kuroyuki-chan." She looked at Naruto. "You will be going to the meeting as another peacekeeper under the ruse of working for Sira-chan here. Considering the Satrais share the territory provided by the Yukais, they can't kick you out. Make sure no violence takes place as that can make things worse as they are. Also, make sure they keep their mouths shut. That pawn of Miyamoto has a filthy mouth and no doubt will set Riser off. Kuroyuki nodded. She will most likely lose as she has been lollygagging in getting and training her peerage. As of now she only has 6 pieces. One of them is locked away due to her not being able to control him. She nodded. Now, let's talk about after the raiding game. The wedding. He looked around. I have just visited with the Phoenix family and we have come to a decision. On the wedding day, this is what is going to happen. Rias was furious. She was currently sitting in the ORC room with the rest of her peerage -1. She was about to tell Issei why she was acting weird but Riser had shown up just as she was about to talk about him. She hated his guts. He was a sick pig that wanted nothing more than to have her part of his harem. She tried countless times to cancel the contract but to no avail. That was the main reason why she got Issei. With his sacred gear they had a shot of winning. She just didn't like that he took all her pawns. Now she just needed to challenge him to a raiding game and do her best to win. Luckily Grafia was here to make sure things didn't get out of hand as Riser already seemed to get irritated at the way Issei was looking at him. Before anything else could happen, a teleportation circle appeared in the middle of the room. It was red with traces of blue in it. Grafia saw it and couldn't help but feel as if she saw it somewhere before. The red looked like the Gremory circle but the blue overlapped the parts that would have confirmed it being a Gremory teleportation circle. Out stepped a petite girl. Kuroyuki was met with stares from every person in the room. Weird. She actually put her wings away for this meeting. Excuse me, but this meeting is private. So please leave. Grafia said stepping forward. I cannot do that. Kuroyuki replied. I was asked by Seraful-sama to be a part of this meeting. After all, this is shared territory between the Gremory and Satrai clan that was generously given to them. Before Grafia could respond, Rias spoke. You are sorely mistaken. This has always been devil territory. Rias spoke with a tone of arrogance. Kuroyuki giggled inwardly. You are the one sorely mistaken. If you have done your research or simply paid attention, you would have known that Kyoto, along with the rest of Japan, is ruled by the Yukai faction. Rias wanted to call her a liar but Grafia spoke. Rias-sama, what she says is true. When Sirzechs-sama asked for territory for you and Sana-sama to reside in, they let you guys reside in this town. Rias was shocked. She thought this area belonged to the devils. Grafia then turned to Kuroyuki. So you are part of Seraful-sama's peerage then? I work for Seraful-sama, yes. Kuroyuki avoided the question, something Grafia noticed. Can we continue here? Spoke Riser. The sooner Rias-chan accepts this, the sooner I will be gone. Kuroyuki looked at him and was immediately saddened. This man was a Phoenix? All he had going for was his regenerative ability if the amount of magic he held was anything to go by. He had about 100 times as much as Issei had. Issei almost had basically 0 magic in him if that shows anything. You are sick. Speak of the devil, literally. How can you marry Buku if you just made out with another girl in front of her? Issei yelled. And you think you are good enough for her? Riser laughed. A low class like you isn't even worthy of kissing the gum stuck on my shoe. Issei growled and summoned his sacred gear. I advise you to stand down, Devil-san. This is supposed to be a peaceful meeting. If you don't, I will be forced to stop you. Kuroyuki said. He then said something that angered a lot of women in the room. Why should I listen to someone with no breasts like you? Even Konako has bigger breasts than you and she has some of the smallest breasts I have seen. That lit the match that started the fire. Konako went red with anger and Kuroyuki was pissed. Without a second to spare, she summoned her weapon. It was a long tri-blade scythe. The handle was black with white tape for grip, with the blades being a dark purple. When the light hit it, it glowed giving off an ominous feeling. Before Issei could blink, Kuroyuki swung the back of her scythe in his gut. He went flying back while spitting up blood. She then brought the scythe above her head ready to pierce his stomach. But an ice wall blocked her strike. I advise you not to do that as I might have to take action against you if you do. Grafia said. Kuroyuki kept a straight face as she put her weapon away. My apologies, but clearly this pervert was clearly raised by animals if he has no respect for women. Or maybe his parents tried their best but he is just a hopeless pervert. She sighed. I'm using that as warning to him and the others. She responded. After all, we are here to keep peace and he was going to take hostile action. She continued. I was given permission to use force if necessary to keep this peaceful. So if you attack me, you indirectly attack Serafil-sama and you remember the last time you guys fought and the reason behind it. Kuroyuki finished in a cold tone. Grafia flinched. She knew exactly what and who she was talking about. She still had the scar that Serafil gave her for what she did. Rias caught it. Now, apparently both sides disagree with each other. Kuroyuki said. The only solution would be a rating game between you two. Do you both accept? I accept. Rias said without hesitation. This was what she has been waiting for. Riser accepts also. The blonde said. I will even give Rias-chan 10 days extra to train. He finished with an arrogant smirk. Good. The rating game will take place in 10 days' time. This meeting is over. Riser and his peerage left but not before Ravel sent a discreet glance at Kuroyuki as she knew she was here because of Naruto. Once they were gone, Kuroyuki turned to Rias. That is all and I advise you to have full control of your peerage. Not being able to control one of your pieces power us one thing, but one's manner speaks poorly of you and the family you represent. Issei did not take kindly to that. What gives you the right to speak to Bucko like that? She is 10 times the woman you will ever be. Kuroyuki sighed as there was no end to his perversions. You still do not fully understand the situation, pawn. She didn't mean offense as Naruto's pawns were some of the most powerful beings but she knew that would get under his skin. You may have 8 pieces in you, he smiled smugly, you have no zero aptitude for magic whatsoever. Your sacred gear is the reason why you needed all those pieces. And while you have the boosted gear, 0 times 100 is still 0. Issei instantly deflated and Konako inwardly smirked as the pervert was out down. I will now take my leave. With that Kuroyuki teleported back to Naruto's home. Grafia, who was that? Rias asked. She shook her head. I have no idea, but I plan on finding out. It had been 10 days since the meeting between Rias and Riser. To say the match was disappointing would be farther than the truth. Rias was actually able to eliminate most of Riser's peerage but at the cost of most of hers. In the end it was Rias and Issei against Riser and Yubelina. It would have been an interesting showdown, if Issei wasn't an idiot. He charged Riser planning to take him out, but his body was exhausted from using his perverted sacred gear attack. Drake must be humiliates from having a pervert as a partner. Issei fell down right in front of Riser. Riser then grabbed Issei and threatened Rias to give up or he would kill Issei, saying deaths happened in rating games all the time. But that was all accidental deaths. If Riser went through with it, he would have been stopped right before he could kill him. Not that Rias knew that. The only reason why he was able to say something like that was because a rating game is like a game of chess. It wasn't just who had the best or strongest pieces. You had to outsmart or trick your opponent. Rias, although very reluctant, gave up. Issei was taken to get treatment done along with the rest of Rias' peerage while she was taken to the underworld to get ready for the wedding. Naruto could say he was proud of the job Rias did during the rating game until she gave up at the end. Naruto was brought out of his thoughts as Blake approached him. So is it true? He asked Blake. She nodded. It is. She gave him an invitation with a reverse teleportation symbol on it. No doubt he wants to interfere while being discreet about it. Naruto nodded. I guess my official return to the underworld is today. Naruto then flared his magic to assemble his peerage. Once they were all there, he spoke. It's time to make a visit to the underworld. Narumi-chan, could you leave a few reinforced clones to watch after Kuna-chan and Mocha-chan? Narumi nodded and made a few dozen clones which went to start cleaning and getting dinner started for the two. With that, Naruto and his peerage left to the underworld. When they arrived, they appeared just outside the double doors that were open from Issei. What they heard him say next made most if not all the women, including the ones at the wedding, disgusted. Rias Bucko's virginity is mine. Naruto face palmed so hard his forehead turned red for a second before it went away. Seriously? One of the most powerful sacred gears, wielded by a pervert. As they walked into the room, they went unnoticed as all the attention was Issei for his outlandish statement. What is trash like you doing here? Riser yelled. I'm here to stop this wedding. Issei shot back. That's when Naruto made his presence known. I would like to have a word if I may. The devils in the room looked at him. Every devil who was old enough to remember him when he was still here, gasped since the Phoenix family, Sirafal, and his grandparents. Naruto looked around the room and noticed that all of the remaining pillars were there. He saw his own parents and the bales next to each other. He then noticed a boy around Rias's age. Sarayorg Bale. Born without the power of destruction. Just like him. He'll make sure to talk with him later. He then looked up on the stage and saw Sirzechs and Gremory. The looks on their faces were completely priceless. They never thought that they would see Naruto again, as most of the older devils thought he was dead, being gone for so long. Before anything else could happen, Riser spoke. Who are you? Another trash devil dares disturb Riser's wedding. Many gasped who knew who Naruto was, while Reiji and Layla put their heads down in shame. Guards, remove them. The guards went to attack Naruto and his peerage. His peerage wasted no time in disposing of the guards. The guards were dealt with in seconds. Naruto stepped forward. But then younger devils saw Kurika and went to attack her. They never made it as Naruto shot lightning at them, incapacitating them. To think this is how my peerage and I would be welcomed back after being gone for over a century. Many gasped at Kurika being in his peerage while others bowed. The younger devils looked at the older generation in confusion as they had no idea who he was. Naruto, it's been a long time. Naruto turned and looked at Sirzechs and Gremory, who stood slightly behind him. Ah, Sirzechs, just the man I wanted to talk to. Sirzechs smiled. Ever since Naruto left, Sirzechs felt like complete and total shit. The person that always protected him and helped him when he needed him, left because of what he did. Gremory felt just as bad, if not worse, than he did. She fell into depression shortly after he left. She didn't leave her room for weeks and only came out when she needed to eat. Eventually she came out when she and Sirafal had to fight for the title of Leviathan. Now could be the chance to apologize and hopefully bury the hatchet. Naruto adopted a serious and disapproving look. Why is it that after the raiding game, your maid visited the pervert over there and gave him an invitation to this wedding? He said, made with some malice. Maybe not. I don't know what you are talking about. Sirzechs lied. I see. Naruto started. I see she has went behind both of our backs now. The room went deathly quiet. Sirzechs frowned and Gremory had a sad look on her face. It surprised Rias, as she has never seen her brother frown outside of an important meeting and never seen Gremory show any emotion besides when she was still a child. That's uncalled for, Naruto. Sirzechs said. If you want an honest answer, I gave Gremory the invitation to give to Issei as he is part of Rias's peerage. He had a right to be here as the rest of her peerage is here. What he did was up to him. He lied again. Naruto didn't buy it but went along. Okay then, but why are you letting him disrupt a big event such as this? Surely as Mu, you should be considering what is best for our race. This marriage has to happen, Naruto stated as Rias had a look of horror. Unless you want this marriage to end. Before Sirzechs could respond, Issei did. Not you too. Why must Rias Bucca marry this asshole? He is nothing but a selfish prick that wants to add Bucca to his harem. Naruto stepped around Sirzechs and in front of Issei. Tell me, boy, what is your dream? Naruto asked. Issei didn't hesitate. To become harem king. He exclaimed proudly. The women felt sick. So you wish to have many women to sleep with and pleasure you? He nodded. Now tell me, is that not the same as Riser over there? He sleeps with most of his peerage. That qualifies as a harem, does it not? But he wants to make Bucca part of it. Naruto smirked. Hook, line and sinker. That is the same thing you just said. Issei wanted to say something but Naruto continued. You clearly said, Rias Bucca's virginity is mine, did you not? You want her in your harem, correct? Issei made incoherent sounds as he couldn't form words. Unless you just wanted to take away her chastity and toss her to the curb, which would be even more despicable than Riser. He wanted to say more but Rias stepped between them. How dare you insult my family and peerage member? Who are you? Rias said with a red face from anger. Naruto chuckled. It then turned to laughter as Rias got more irritated. Ah, I guess it's no surprise you or any of the younger generation know who I am. Sirzechs stepped forward. Naruto, this isn't the time or place. Naruto scoffed. And when is the time or place? Your law was on the devils that were living in the underworld at the time. You simply thought I was dead. Naruto turned to everyone in the room. You all know the story of the Crimson Flash, correct? He received nods. Well, I am here to say, that is me. The young devils gasped minus Ravel. Many shouted that he was lying or impossible. It is true, isn't that right, Sirzechs? All eyes went to him and he nodded. Now you all don't know my name as Sirzechs over there, along with the elders, wanted me to be kept secret. He paused. My name is Naruto Gremory. The true heir of the Gremory clan. Chaos erupted.